Hi guys, my name is Trinity, and if you're here, you must be here to talk about books. Today, I'm going to be showing you another massive book haul because I have no self-control. That's basically why we're here, right? I have no self-control. I constantly buy books. And so I have yet another book haul for you. So some of this book haul is from Amazon. The other half, you may have seen a little bit of a spoiler on my Twitter if you follow me there. I highly recommend that you do because that's where I'm most active. But I spent $30 at the buy sale trade as well. And that gets you a lot of books when you take back as many books as I do. I also have 2 of my Owlcrate books to show you guys, and I will let you guys know what is what when we get there. First off, I want to start with what I got from Amazon because it's the thing I'm most excited about. I paid good money for the ones I bought from Amazon, right? So, first up, we have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Very, very excited to get into this one. You guys know that I have kind of a love-hate relationship with Brando Sando, and it's not even that. I can't even say I hate any of his books. I'm just not a character-driven reader, so Stormlight Archive's not for me, but very, very excited for this one. One of the books that I have loved this year is House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. And she just released a new book called Small Favors. Very excited for this. From what I understand, this is about a girl named Ellery who is a beekeeper. But she lives in a town surrounded by myths of monsters, and the monsters have become real. And so what it seems like to me is the Fae are at work and are making deals with the people of her village, and things go awry very quickly. So I'm very excited for this. You guys know that I am a sucker for a good Fae novel, and that's what this sounds like. Even if you don't spell it out for me, that's what this sounds like. A book that is all over my Twitter. Jimmy has talked about this. Leslie has talked about this. I will link them both down below. But I saw the cover of these books and immediately wanted them. You know I'm a sucker for a good cover. It doesn't take much with this girl. Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. Now, funny story, I saw this on Twitter. There was a giveaway. Leslie tagged me in it. I tagged Jimmy in it. And then Leslie was like, I heard about these books from Jimmy. I'm like, oh, well, at least I know he likes them. I was right in assuming that he would like them. So I ended up tagging someone who reviewed the whole series, but didn't realize he'd reviewed the whole series. And yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. In a world where single combat determines the fate of nations, the Grievar fight so the rest can remain at peace. Kago is a mysterious boy forced to fight his way out of the slave circles into the world's most prestigious combat school. At the Lyceum, Kago will learn a variety of martial arts from eclectic teachers, develop deep bonds of friendship, and fight against the contentious rivals to climb the school's rankings. But Kago finds far more than combat studies at the Lyceum. He will find the mystery of his past unraveled by dark forces greater than he could ever imagine. That is one of the things I actually heard about this book, that there is a great found family trope in it, and that is the reason I wanted to read it. But we have school setting as well, and some of this kind of makes me think Ender's Game, but that's probably because we have a sci-fi type setup here in a school. But I'm very excited to read this. And guys, this is a book that I will proudly display somewhere in my house because the cover is so dang cool. And if you guys can't tell, this is hardback. There is no dust jacket. This is the actual hardback. So very, very cool. Okay, if you guys saw my last video, you guys will know that I have talked about the fact that I want to continue reading books that I like, series that I like, talk to you guys about why you came here in the first place. And that is what I did when I ordered from Amazon. I just purchased series that I knew I needed to complete so that I could talk to you guys more in depth about them, tell you if they're actually one of my favorite series of all time. One of them, I love the first book so much that I'm like considering naming it my favorite sci-fi series, even though I only read the first book. But I do love the main character, and that's probably part of it. So for the first of those, I got the next two books in Peter Newman's The Vagrant series. I guess that's what it's called. But The Vagrant is the first one. The Seven, Malice, I believe Malice is number 2. I really wish that they would put 2, 3 on the like spines of these because I always get confused. But these are the next two in that trilogy, so I will be reading these very soon. As you guys know, I loved the start to the Wounded Kingdom trilogy, and so I bought books 2 and 3 by R.J. Barker. Age of Assassins is the first one. So Blood of Assassins, King of Assassins. These are the covers here. Very, very excited to finish out this trilogy, and I've heard very good things about the rest of it. I loved the pacing of the first one. So fast paced. It's everything I wanted Assassin's Apprentice to be by Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb is just at the other end of the spectrum from R.J. Barker, where R.J. Barker has great plot and funny characters. Robin Hobb has great character work and depressing characters. So this is just the other end of the spectrum from that, and kind of just what I gravitate towards. So very excited to finish up this trilogy. And now the sci-fi book that I absolutely fell in love with, besides Project Hail Mary, you guys know all about that, is a chunker of a book. It is so good though, so good. And I didn't even own it. I got it from Audible. And then whenever I listened to it, I was like, I have to own this series. And so I got the whole series. Let's see. Are you upside down? You're upside down. Velocity Weapon, Chaos Vector, Catalyst Gate, Megany O'Keefe. I loved Velocity Weapon so much. So much. And I'm so excited that I now own the whole series. Yes. Yes. I do think that has a solid chance of being my favorite sci-fi series. And you guys have seen my shelves. You guys know that I didn't own Scythe. I owned Thunderhead and the Toll, but not Scythe. So I finally picked up a copy of Scythe. And that is what I got from Amazon. Let me show you the two books that I got from Owlcrate. So we have This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. This is the author of Cinderella is Dead. When Bree's aunt dies and wills her a dilapidated estate in rural New York, Bree and her parents hope that surrounded by plants and flowers, she will finally learn to control her gift. But their new home is sinister in ways they never expected. It comes with a mysterious set of instructions, a walled garden filled with the deadliest botanicals in the world, and generations of secrets. There is more to Bree's sudden inheritance than she could have imagined, and she is determined to uncover it. So it sounds like it could be really good. The cover is gorgeous. And Sisters of the Snake by Serena and Sasha Nanua. This is a twin swap story in which one of the girls is a princess and one of them is a thief, and they trade places. So it could be very fun, could be very entertaining, and I hope it's good. Okay, 2 books that you guys are going to see come up in a very near future video. The first being The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Now, this is a book that I have been intrigued by simply because of the authors. Amy Kaufman usually writes with Jay Kristoff, so very intrigued to see what she does with another author. And Megan Spooner is the author of I Can Picture the Cover. Hunted. The author of Hunted. And this is about a living goddess searches the skies, desperate for hope. A crown prince falls to earth looking for answers, both destined to save their worlds or destroy them completely. But like I said, I'm interested because of the authors of the book, and Laini Taylor blurbed it. So just another step in me wanting to read it. And I don't really know much more than that. And that's fine. Sometimes I don't need to know any more than that. We have a Petrick recommendation. This is another one you're going to see in a very soon to come video. Dagger and the Coin, Daniel Abraham, The Dragon's Path. I know nothing about this except Petrick recommended it, and so I picked it up. I blame Petrick for a lot of my reading. I think all of us do. Falling pebbles can start a landslide. A spat between the free cities and the severed throne is spiraling out of control. A new player rises from the depths of history, fanning the flames that will sweep the entire region onto the dragon's path, the path to war. Sounds up my alley. I love books that have a lot of political intrigue in them, and so this was $1. Oh, starting with the last book, these are the books that I got at the buy sell trade for $30. So that was book 2. Okay, so the next 2 books would be these right here. The Song of All, Dreams of the Dark Sky by Tina LeCount Myers. Now, when I asked people to recommend me books, their favorite series that was outside the big 5, this one came up a few times. And so when I saw it at the buy sell trade, the first 2, I had to go ahead and pick it up. They're blurbed by Anna Stevens, the author of Godblind. And this is called The Legacy of the Heavens. So book 1, may his blade strike glory upon the heavens. May his blade draw the blood of those who call themselves immortals. On the forbidding fringes of the tundra where years are marred by seasons of snow, humans war with immortals in the name of their shared gods. Irwan, a human warrior, is ruthless and lethal, a legend among the brethren of hunters, but even legends grow tired and disillusioned. Scarred and weary of bloodshed, Irwan turns his back on his oath and his calling to hide away and live a peaceful life as a farmer, husband, and father. But his past is not so easily left behind. When an ambitious village priest conspires with the vengeful comrades Irwan has forsaken, the fragile peace of the northlands of Divinia, I don't know how to say that, is at stake. His bloody past revealed, Irwan's present unravels as he faces an ultimatum. Return to hunt the immortals or lose his child. But with his son's life hanging in the balance as Irwan follows the tracks through the dark and desolate snow-covered forest, it is not death he searches for, but life. And these are the first two, like I said, of that series. Book 1 here, book 2 here. This one's self-explanatory. Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I've never read a Seanan McGuire. This was $1, so I picked it up. So here is the problem with the buy-sell trade and the fact that these dang series don't have numbers on them. I bought Tarnished City by Vic James. This is the second book in the series. I didn't know that. So I'm going to have to get the first one. However, when I did look up the first book of the series, I realized it was a cover that I recognized, that I had probably talked myself into at some point because it was very familiar. And picking up this one and reading the synopsis, it sounded good again. So I'll probably just go ahead and pick up the first one on Amazon when I get around to reading these, but it sounds really good. Gilded Cage, that is the first book of this series. One that I hear a lot about from a lot of people, not just BookTube, not just Twitter, but actually like my friends who love reading, is Wool by Hugh Howey. And this is one that everybody always tells me is like, it'll freak you out. And I look for books like that all the time, but this is not necessarily scary so much as it gets in your head. And that's the part that I'm interested in. And like I said, these were like $1. So I really thought, why the heck not? Let's give it a go. And also, we'll see if I like it. I've heard very good things about it. What would you do if the world outside was deadly and the air you breathe could kill, and you lived in a place where every birth required a death and the choices you made could save lives or destroy them? This is Jules' story. This is the world of Wool. Okay. These books, I'm going to fully admit, for only ever wanting to read them because of the covers. Forever only wanting to own them because of the covers, because I think they're two of the most beautiful books I've ever seen. Witchwood and Furthermore. Like, I might just keep these because they're so pretty and put them on a shelf somewhere as like, look at this art. I love the art. So Tara Maffey wrote these, and they are middle grade, I believe, young adult, from what I remember. And yeah, I've heard mixed reviews on them as well, but like I said, they're the most beautiful books I've ever seen in my life, and I needed to own them. So the next 4 books. Gail Z. Martin is an author that has been recommended to me a few times. Ice Forged has definitely been recommended to me a few times, and I found the whole series at the buy-sell trade. $4 for all of them. I bought them. I hope that I like them. Condemned for killing the man who dishonored his sister, Blaine McFadden has spent the last 6 years in Velent, a penal colony on the frigid northern wastelands. Harsh discipline and oppressive magic keep a fragile peace as colonists struggle against a hostile environment, but the supply ships from Dondareth have stopped coming, boding ill for the kingdom that banished the colonists. Now, as the world's magic runs wild, McFadden and the people of Velent must fight to survive and decide their fate. Chronicles of the Necromancer is the one that I've heard a lot of people say that they like, but I've heard about this one as well, and yeah, we shall see if I like it. Sometimes when you go to the buy sell trade, the used bookstore, those places, you come across things like classics or books that you just keep hearing about and everyone talks about, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then you see it and you're like, maybe I should buy it. A Gentleman in Moscow. Oh, the chances of me liking this book are not very high at all. But it's one of those books that I want to have an opinion on, and I might like it. Maybe. You never know. Ignore the sticker because trade credit. But yeah, I saw this at the buy sell trade and I was like, it's $1. It's $1. Is it really gonna matter if I get it or not? But I want to have an opinion on it, so I bought it. So I heard someone talking about Red Waters Rising by Laura Ann Gilman. When I saw it at the buy sell trade, I was like, oh, cool. I just heard about this book. What I didn't remember is that this is book 3 of a trilogy. But I bought it because it reminded me of Honey and Wildfires by Sarah Chorn. And now I'm sad because I bought book 3 of a trilogy and I didn't know it. And the person who reviewed it didn't say that. It was book 3 of a trilogy. One that I bought to make my friend Ben very happy. I will link his blog down below because he's a blogger, not a vlogger. Is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And oh man, so we all have our favorite sci-fis, and mine, I really love Project Hail Mary. It was The Martian previous to this, and we started talking about sci-fi books. I started reading a whole bunch of sci-fi this year, and he's like, you got to read Ready Player One. You got to read Ready Player One. And everyone was like, no, no, no. And so I am going to read Ready Player One for Ben. And hopefully I really enjoy it. We both kind of like cheeky novels, plot-driven novels. So I have a feeling that of the people on the Discord that he's tried to convince to read it, I'm probably the best shot he has. Okay, this next book I saw when I was watching someone review Book of the Month. Probably Elliot Brooks, because that is who I watch that is sponsored by Book of the Month. And The Removed by Brandon Hobson. It immediately went into my TBR on Goodreads, and when I found it at the buy sell trade, I was very, very happy, and I grabbed it. It is very different for me, but it sounds like it could be really, really good. In the 15 years since their teenage son Ray Ray was killed in a police shooting, the Ikoda family has been suspended in private grief. The mother, Maria, increasingly struggles to manage the onset of Alzheimer's, and her husband, Ernest, their adult daughter, Sonia, leads a life of solitude, punctuated only by spells of dizzying romantic obsession, and their remaining son, Edgar, fled home long ago, turning to drugs to mute his feelings of alienation. With the family's annual bonfire approaching, an occasion marking both the Cherokee national holiday and Ray Ray's death, in a rare moment in which they openly talk about his memory, Maria attempts to call the family together from their physical and emotional distances once more. So I'm Cherokee. I've been wanting to read more Indigenous authors, and whenever I saw that this was about a Cherokee family, I was really happy and added it to the TBR, was excited to find it at the buy sell trade. how did this not go at Gardner's as quickly as it, I mean, like, how did I get a hold of it? That's what I want to know, because like I said, I live in Oklahoma. I'm Cherokee. I was very happy to find this, and I hope I like it. It's really outside of the box for me, but I want to read more Indigenous authors. I want to read more about Indigenous people, and it seems like it would be a very thought-provoking read, at least. So, on a completely different note, we have Blood Rose Rebellion by Rosalind Eves. Now, this is one that I've put on the TBR and taken off the TBR and put on the TBR and taken off the TBR because it's a young adult. It's a young adult that sounds like a lot of other young adults, but I'm tempted, always tempted. And then whenever I found it for $1, really, how do you pass it up? How do you pass it up when you've put it on the TBR and taken it off? Put it on and taken it off. So yeah. Oh, this is on my TBR now. I bought it. And last but certainly not least, I found a copy of Graceling by Kristen Cashore. I have read this. I love this series. This is a young adult that I think is definitely worth the read. Even if you are not a young adult reader, you would probably be really interested in the world building and the character development. And each story kind of follows a different character, so you still get the same group of characters, but a different POV. This is the first of the Now Quartet, and I love this book. So I have read it before, but I do plan to do a reread of it again, so I'm excited to have a physical copy. I have been talking for 45 minutes. Oh, so tired. That is it for me today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I will see you guys in my next video.